their challenges and counseling. So that integration was very, very important. Even to the modern day now, you cannot solely remain on one skill and think you could excel in the other. You need to have, you must be multi-skilled for multitasking. You need to be equipped. And each and everything that you learn adds value to probably any current setup. Whether you're into engineering, but if you are in your skills in other fields, suppose human sciences, you are able to manage your subordinates.
Wonderful. All right. It takes me to somewhere. Over the last years, there was a lot of attacks that were coming, also including us. But for a person with better qualifications, other things to go and do, what gave you the thick skin? I know, for example, you were coaching Big Hit and whatever. It cannot be compared to the remuneration that you can still go and get with the magnitude of the education that you have. Well, I'm saying this because sometimes people, they think people, they come because they are a bit desperate, they have no other things to do. But I'm looking at someone who worked for you and someone who worked for all those things. You have other qualifications that can be able to sustain you. And still you're saying, I still want to be part of this same football. You pursued as a degree. You already had other degrees. You started pursuing football. You started being a football coach and everything. But with all those negative attacks, and also the process, I know the process wasn't easy. Because by the time you were coaching, we were coaching down there in Shabani.
Yes.
Shabani was no longer the Shabani that we know.
Yes.
Which means it was more or less on a friend basis.
Yes.
But you've got a family.
Yes.
You want to feel and everything. But what still gives you that thick skin? For if it was me, I would have chose a different pathway. To tell you the truth, that's what I am. But what gives you that?
You know, to be honest with you, sometimes God works in mysterious ways. And we can only attribute it to God's doing. Firstly, going to Shabani, the one that we're talking about, I had opportunities. I could have joined some other two premiership teams that were in the capital. I think the two biggest premiership teams. They wanted me, but one or two challenges came up. I remember, I'll be very free to mention it, Lloyd Mdasa was at Dynamos. He also wanted me, but I was somebody with a Caps United background, so it got a bit tricky for him.
Yeah, I understand.
But then, last minute, I ended up dashing down to Shabani, and because they wanted a head coach. By then, already the conditions of somebody with a license was required. So I went there. But I think, like we say, God works in mysterious ways. I went there. The desire was to really show my expertise after having done so well with Tualumba, which was another developmental project. So I went there. I think we did very well. I only lasted, you see, why I say God works, I only lasted 3 games. First, it was against the Cape United that had just qualified for Champions League group stage after beating TP Mazembe. We drew 0-0 and nobody gave us a chance. Went away in Bulawayo, played against Highlanders. That was a real Highlanders. And we beat them at BF. The third game, while I thought I was starting to enjoy my dugout. And then that's when I was headhunted by Zifa to say, we need you as a technical director. I didn't take it up, and it had to take a bit of interventions by influential authorities. Actually, it was authority over my choice. And I had no option but to join Zimbabwe. And coming to what I was saying in terms of really, here is somebody, after having gone for CAF training in terms of electronic training and catapult training, we came back and I was supposed to identify people that would assist in terms of that segment technology, what that technology was getting into. There were people that had been nominated to go there. They went there for 3 months, nothing happened. And I went to Egypt for training. After coming back, and we were not anywhere. These are iCloud gadgets. There was nothing, no account opened. The gadgets were just set. And then they asked me in the office to say, who do you think should you send for training? I said, no. There is somebody that I know who is qualified, authentically qualified, who can handle this. And then I settled for this guy in Shasharandora, and he went for training in South Africa. And before we knew it, we were on in the system, and CAF was actually saying Zimbabwe was one of the best countries now in terms of using the gadgets. I think you remember when the teams went into camp. But it was not easy, like you're saying. It came against a lot of barrage from people writing what they wanted to write. But I was so sure of the decision that I made, that I made the correct choice in terms of the person who should go for that training, who should help our team. And to be honest with you, I never was in an apologetic condition or state. I knew that I'd done the correct thing.
Definitely, this is something that is great. But we want to come back again and we can say, fine. Post that, there are a lot of things that changed. Basically, like, I was chosen to go for that particular program. But when I went to that particular program, within a very short time, I managed also to go to Tanzania to work with Azam, and even the qualification of Tanzania in terms of the AFCON and different tournaments were very integral, because we played a very big role in doing that. But I always come back and look and say, this is the seed that was sown for a number of years through that tenacity. When you speak of football being a thankless job, I've seen people that came that contributed nothing, that benefited more than you. But at the end of the day, I know that there is always what you call God's time at the end of the day. And I think it have to be, or it should be, your season. Maybe before we call it a day for today for our first episode, there are a lot of changes in terms of the modernization of football, in terms of the application of the scientific principle, science-based, player-centered, and coach-driven. You are a CAF instructor. You have gone for all those programs, and through the privilege also that I'm also part of, in terms of the football science, I present in different areas. What can you say to our coaches, especially here in Zimbabwe, in terms of modern approach to coaching through the science-based, player-centered, and coach-driven?
The inevitability of football is there is no other way, there's no other direction that we're ever going to go except going the scientific route. Coach-driven and is trying to drive, and if you are to drive, there's science-based and player-centered. If you're trying to drive that, then you have to be licensed to be the driver. And trying to really go against the modern scientific approach to sport is actually resisting the inevitable. I think our coaches, it's a high time. We have no option. We have no option. It's pathetic. Fortunately, I went back into the dugout. 2024 serving big terminals from relegation. In 2025, we played very well. I think one of the best teams in the Premiership. I don't even feel guilty. Definitely. Not even. Getting into the dugout, I had a lot of interaction with the coaches, and the things that I used to see from teams, from coaches, the behaviors that I had to see, it's quite embarrassing in this day and age. I think we have to be students of the game.
Wonderful. So we'd like to later come back and discuss about one of the key elements, which is the same science-based, player-centered, and coach-driven, and also the integration of technical activation. How to integrate a modern-day fitness coach and the technical part. When I go at CAF level, I'm just speaking about maybe football science and football fitness. But I think we need something that we would share, because you have a vast experience that we always benefit from. And I believe anyone will be able to take their time to listen to some of these conversations that we'll be giving this year. They are going to change. I'm sure we'll meet again before I go back for this interview. But before, I would like to congratulate you for your new post as the technical director of MOS. And it is my community. We are the Notorians, we are the fish people. And we hope for the best for our community at the end of the day. Community comes first. Before anything. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be at MOS. I think it's an institution that is quite focused, very, very serious in terms of wanting to set up and professionalize the institution. So I can't wait for the next episode.
Wonderful. Kate, stay tuned. We'll be having a lot of these episodes and across the country, but I believe this will be one of the life-changing to most of you guys and also get the reality. We'll come back with more of these episodes with different people, but our key issue for this year and theme: evolve, adapt, and lead. Thank you very much. See you there.